Ladies and gentlemen, as you know, in this plenary session, we'll have a panel discussion and we'll have our panelists sharing their journey, their experiences with us. So, and you know the topic of today's panel discussion is role of diaspora youth in innovations and new technologies. So, I would request our panelists to please join us on stage. May I request Mr. Amit Sudani ji? Amit ji, if you are around and hearing me, please come onto the stage. In today's panel discussion, our next panelist would be Mr. Harish Kolasni ji. Harish ji, if you could please come onto the stage. We also have Mr. Bharat Sharma ji with us, our third panelist of the day. So I'm requesting Bharat Sharma ji to please come onto the dais. Our fourth panelist would be Mr. Rahul Jain. Rahul ji, can you please come onto the dais? Our fifth panelist is Ms. Simran Kaur. So I'm requesting Ms. Simran Kaur ma'am to please come onto the dais. And our sixth and last panelist is Mr. Ritesh Agarwal. So I'm requesting Ritesh Agarwal ji. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, as you know, it's a big event for all of us. So, Ms. Asha ji, who has come from Mauritius, her passport, probably her bag or kit has been exchanged with somebody. So, if you could please open your bag and check, has it been exchanged with any of you? Okay, those who have been given kit bag, तो मैम का बैग जो है उसमें कहीं उनका पासपोर्ट था, वो शायद किसी से एक्सचेंज हो गया है बाय मिस्टेक. तो आप में से जिनके पास भी किट बैग हैं, so please just check in if you have the passport of Asha ji in that. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Request to everyone, please settle down. We have another session. We are on a tight schedule. Request to everyone, please settle down. Request to everyone, please settle down. Please settle down. We have another set.
We have with us Secretary Youth Affairs, Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports, Government of India, respected Ms. Smita Rajiv Lochanji. Welcome to the program, ma'am. We have Joint Secretary, Youth Affairs, Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports, Government of India, respected Mr. Nitesh Kumar Mishra ji. And ladies and gentlemen, we heartily welcome our panelists. We have Mr. Amit Sodani from Chile, founder and CEO, Coupons.com. Amit ji, welcome to the program. We have Mr. Harish Kolasni ji, founder of NRI Seva Foundation, who has come from United States. We have with us Mr. Rahul Jain from South Africa, co-founder and CEO, Peach Payments. Our next panelist is Mr. Bharat Sharma, founder and CEO, Monsoon Consulting, Ireland. And ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our next panelist, Ms. Simran Kaur from New Zealand, founder of Girls That Invest and the Indian Feminist. She is also a stock market columnist and a keynote speaker. We have Mr. Ritesh Agarwal with us, founder and CEO, Oyo Hotels. And we welcome all our panelists, in fact. We also welcome our senior officials from the Ministry of External Affairs, Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports, officers from the state of Madhya Pradesh, diaspora youth and students from different countries who have come here, our volunteers and awardees from NSS and NYKS, and all others present in this hall. We welcome you all in this plenary session. And ladies and gentlemen, may I humbly request our Honorable Minister of Youth Affairs and Sports, Shri Anurag Singh Thakur ji, to kindly address us.
Dignitaries on the dais, brothers and sisters from across the country and Pravasi Bhartiya, bhai aur behno, friends from media, namaste, a very warm welcome to all the esteemed panelists and everyone who have come from various parts of the world. Youth Pravasi Bhartiya Divas is not only about finding one's roots, but also about rooting for everything that makes us Indian. It is as much about your story and the story about of rising India. It is a moment to reconnect and reimagine new possibilities. And it is a network to drive change, discover new ties, and develop new ideas. Today, I say this with a sense of pragmatism and confidence that the youth, both from India as well as the diaspora community, have made a remarkable strides in the realms of technology, business, politics, creativity, innovation across the world. In fact, youth are increasingly playing a key role in determining the direction of where our society and the world is headed. By staying ahead of the curve on the technological changes and leveraging it in innovating ways. The success of each one of you and other members of the overseas Indian family has dramatically changed the world's perception of Indians and India. The Western perception of India as a land of snake charmers and beggars, that's what I heard and I saw, read in the American newspapers way back in 1997, is today healing the world with its soulful spirituality and shooting ahead with the strides in software, space, and socio-digital transformations. India today is known for innovation, incubation, and ingenious ideas. Indian diaspora youth have major role to play in enhancing tech innovation across the world for the advancement of humanity. Firstly, you are young and you have the thrust to innovate. Secondly, you have a passion to contribute towards development of India and entire world. Thirdly, you act as a bridge between the country you are in and their companies and their products, and the first as well as the fastest movers in emerging technologies. And finally, you have the access to some of the best resources and ideas of the world. The Indian diaspora shares a symbolic relationship with the Indian IT industry, where both have reinforced each other's quantitative and qualitative growth over the decades. It would not be wrong to say Silicon Valley was built by hundreds of genius minds that once walked through the corridors of IITs and IIMs. और ये भारत की IITs और IIMs की ही क्षमता थी जिसने सिलिकॉन वैली में भी अपना बहुत बड़ा योगदान देने का काम किया है। और इंदौर एक ऐसा शहर भारत का है जहां IIT भी है और IIM भी यहां पर है। On the one hand, Indian diaspora brings a multi-layered gain to the IT industry in terms of enhanced skills and capital formation, human, social and financial, and also inward remittances, that is NRI sending money to their friends, family here in India, foreign direct investment flows, creation of networks, markets and boost for India's image. On the other hand, the Indian IT industry has created a strong motivation for the mobility of highly skilled professionals and provided the diaspora with a much needed opportunity to engage with their motherland. I firmly believe it is an opportunity for nations around the world to ensure development of individual intellectual potential, unbridled creative self-expression, analytical thought, technological prowess and prudence. We must strive to become a race and society that leaves behind a legacy that transcends generations. I believe it is time to go beyond our aspirations towards affirmative action in order to attain, achieve and ascend towards New India shared development goals in Amrit Kaal. Friends, today under the leadership of Prime Minister Narendra Modi, India is in an era of rapid transition and transformations with a set timeline, trajectory and target. Our rapid advancements and adoptions of technology makes us a case study. Considering the immense diversity and possibilities that India offers, there is a growing saying amongst CEOs, if it works in India, it works anywhere in the world. The opportunities and possibilities that India presents, the youthful powerhouse that we are in terms of our innovations and entrepreneurial ability is unmatched if we put our minds together. The rise of Indians is the rise of 1/6 of humanity and much more in the spirit of Vasudeva Kutumbakam. With your hard work and notable contributions, India has the potential to lead the way in almost all the spheres of the world. I believe the success abroad is not your success alone. It is rather the success of the entire nation. Likewise, your problems abroad are our problems. आपकी उपलब्धियां केवल आपकी नहीं पूरे भारत की हैं और आपकी मुसीबतें या आपका दुख दर्द केवल आपका ही नहीं, समस्त भारत उसको अपना दर्द समझता है और उसको समाधान करने के लिए आगे आता है। आप मीलों दूर रह सकते हो लेकिन दिल के करीब रहते हो, इस बात को भी मैं यहां पर कहना चाहता हूं। आप सदा भारत के परिवार का हिस्सा थे और आगे भी परिवार का हिस्सा रहेंगे। और जहां प्रवासी भारतीय यहां पर आए, मैं ये कहना चाहता हूं कि चाहे सुनीता विलियम्स हो, कल्पना चावला हो, साइंस से लेके एस्ट्रोनॉमी के क्षेत्र में इन्होंने बहुत बड़ी उपलब्धियां हासिल की हैं और बहुत सारे युवा दुनिया भर में कर रहे हैं। And when I talk about the youth and youth power, the image of saffron-clad Swami Vivekananda flashes in my mind. In 1893, he was only 30 years old when he delivered his famous Chicago address at the Parliament of Religion. जब भाई और बहनों कहकर उन्होंने दुनिया भर को संबोधित किया था, तो पूरी दुनिया को अपने एक परिवार का हिस्सा बनाया और कहीं ना कहीं दुनिया का दिल जीतने का काम स्वामी विवेकानंद ने उस समय किया था। और आज मैं कह सकता हूं आज से कुछ दिन के बाद ही 12 जनवरी को स्वामी विवेकानंद जी का जन्म दिवस भी होगा, जो पूरे भारत में युवा दिवस के रूप में मनाया जाता है। नेशनल यूथ फेस्टिवल भी हम उसको मनाते हैं। सो द बेस्ट after the Swami Vivekananda speech, the West bowed its head before the monk of the East, and 130 years down the line, this icon of youth continues to amaze and inspire the world with his thought-provoking ideas on karma yoga and entrepreneurship. Some of you may be inquisitive about my opening remark with philosopher and great motivator Swami Vivekananda. Technology makes our life simple and spiritualism gives the right direction to life. It is a mechanism of life, and I'm not exaggerating it if I say that there is a Vivekananda inside us only if we identify and utilize our potential with laser focused attention. And in the quintessential journey into becoming, we must remember our ABCs of the fourth industrial revolution, that is artificial intelligence, blockchain and cloud computing to tackle problems like climate change or to handle food production, for waste management and agriculture. We must learn from the Generation X, activate Generation Y and inspire Generation Z. For all reasons, youth, you are the most productive and prized asset of the nation. You, the diaspora youth, are uniquely positioned as you are rooted in your motherland, India, and the country you currently live in. In this way, you can contribute to both the nations in technological and other advancements. You can be the bridge and a common asset of both nations, diaspora capital. What precisely is called you are the human, financial and the social capital, and your innovation will help the world. It is fact that the scientists and technologists of the Indian origin are the backbone of technological advancement of many nations of the world. You are young and have energy, a passion for innovation. We daily come across the inspiring stories of the young generation bringing and executing something innovative. Your innovations and contribution to new technologies will be repository for futuristic thinking. In fact, our government has always been consulting Indian diaspora in framing policies. Indian diaspora were involved in formulating Science, Technology and Innovation Policy STIP 2020. Our Prime Minister has always emphasized on turning brain drain to brain gain, as innovation is key to realizing the dream of New India. India has a large diaspora in the world with over 31 million, including 13 million NRIs and 18 million PIOs who have deep abiding connection with India and their homeland. And in the words of most ever dynamic Prime Minister of our proud nation, we have a million problems, but at the same time, over a billion brilliant minds. India is geographically located at the heart of the world, Hridaya Sthanam. So we can proudly say, Aham Hridayam, which can be split into Hara, which translates to root out, the, which means Dadati, to give, and Yam, which means to revolve. And this is how the heart functions. This is how the India functions, rooting out all the malice, giving the best back to the world, and the world revolves around India. And the Aham in the youth of India, the diaspora youth of India. driving the great Indian dream, our bubbly young Indian diaspora, come home to the land, to the language, to the love. I greet all of you once again, sincerely urge you to join the scientific and economic ecosystem of India, and I'm sure once you're spending few days, few weeks in India, you will be able to connect and network with the Indian youth. You will be able to know the problems and the challenges faced by the Indian. You will be able to contribute towards the future of work with the use of technology to create jobs, because the 20th century jobs or the way it won't work. We need more innovations in the field for the future of work. And I'm sure with your presence here and with your contribution, you are going to network here, and remember, your network is your net worth. And it is the time for India, Indians and ideas to lead the world the India way. I thank the organizers for inviting me, and my best wishes to the delegate of Pravasi Bharatiya Divas and the plenary session. And I request the youth who are sitting on the dais here, who have achieved a lot in various fields, you're going to share your experiences, the challenges you have faced, and how you have achieved. From a startup to a unicorn, your entrepreneurial spirit has always inspired Indians in India and abroad, and the world is looking at India as an emerging power. Thank you once again and welcome to India. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat.
Thank you, Honorable Minister, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, our Minister of Youth Affairs and Sports, Government of India, Shri Anurag Singh Thakur ji. So as just our Minister sir mentioned, Swami Vivekananda, his contribution in India and on foreign soil. So we can say अब हम लोग आज़ादी का अमृत महोत्सव मना रहे हैं, अमृत काल में हम लोग एंटर कर चुके हैं, और जैसा कि आप सब जानते हैं, इंडिया हैज़ assumed presidency of G20 summit, और हम यहाँ पर अब प्रवासी भारतीय दिवस मना रहे हैं. तो होप्स आर हाई, कमिटमेंट्स फुलफिल हम लोगों को करना है, जैसा कि माननीय मंत्री जी ने कहा कि युवाओं को आगे आना है और योगदान करना है, और इसीलिए हम कहते भी हैं कि डायस्पोरा रिलायबल पार्टनर्स फॉर इंडियाज़ प्रोग्रेस इन अमृत काल. एंड नाउ लेडीज एंड जेंटलमैन, विल स्टार्ट विद आवर पैनल डिस्कशन, एंड एज यू नो द थीम ऑफ टुडेज डिस्कशन इज role of diaspora youth in innovation and new technologies. So our first panelist is Amit Sudani ji, and I would like to share a few things about him with you. Amit Sudani ji is the founder and CEO of Coopers.com, Latim's first and the biggest frequently used multi-modal ground transportation service aggregator.
Thank you.
Yeah, please, shall I?
Please.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you. So the company also operates a proprietary wallet. So you can see the enthusiasm, the way he wants to actually speak to you. Please give me some time. Coopers Pay basically dedicated to the transportation and logistics industry. The company's current services include intercity bus, train, carpool, etc. And well, I have so much to share about him, but to cut it short, I will simply say the company's Android application has been consistently ranked as the #1 travel app on the Google Play Store. And Coopers.com is incubated by Microsoft Imagine Business Lab. Lead investors include Kaufman, Mercedes-Benz representative, and Make My Trip, and Alberto Oltro. So it's all over to you, please.
Thank you very much.
Pleasure. Thank you.
And thank you very much, Honorable Minister Mr. Anurag Kashyap, for this wonderful invitation. Well, good morning, everyone, and good morning, Indore. It would be absolutely unfair on my part to start on anything without acknowledging and appreciating every resident of Indore for maintaining this city absolutely clean and neat. This is absolutely incredible. You know, we have been hearing about this Swachh Bharat Abhiyan, at least me coming from Chile, and here we see a true success case. So this is for real. This is happening, and I'm sure for such level of success, you know, you need commitment from literally everyone, from top to bottom. So very well deserving, very impressive. Congratulations to you all. So talking about diaspora, you see, today the world talent market in general, they are working like IPL we have in India, right? Or English Premier Leagues, right? When the talent is absolutely free to do whatever they want to do from wherever they want to do. So I can go develop, build, disrupt, innovate, absolutely anything at any part of the world, including virtually. I have seen people disrupting LATAM market sitting in India practically, right, at a large scale. And that creates a unique situation for some countries like, US, for example, who has built their success story largely or an important part of it, coming from immigrants, right? Immigrants from India. And now why I'm saying this, I heard the minister saying that India has the world's largest diaspora population, that's 18 million people. And this number is massive, guys, right? So to give you a perspective what 18 million means, I come from Chile and coincidentally the numbers are very much similar. The entire population of Chile is 18 million. And with this 18 million, the country is producing $300 billion GDP, right? So we are talking about an extremely large number of people as diaspora, right? A very large community. So I'm very glad that finally the government has recognized and making a real sincere efforts to build this beautiful solid platform and forums so that we can leverage on it what we have built over the generations, right? It's been a couple of generations, now you see somebody Satya Nadella coming in. It's not like one generation, 10 years and something like Sundar Pichai is happening, right? This is generations after generations and now we have this amazing community of 18 million people. And I have personally seen, being in Chile and being a very active participant in the startup community system in LATAM and especially in Chile with the government also, right? So we have seen many such success cases with a similar program, at least in Chile and Singapore, two markets where I have helped some startups or I'm practically involved. And they have seen fabulous results coming out of this kind of forum, what they have been doing for the last couple of years. The other aspect of it, you see, I heard again the Honorable Minister Anurag saying the power moved, right, from east to west. So on the same line, you see 250 years, just to complement what he was saying, 250 years or 200 years before, the power moved from the east to west, right? And I'm sure most of you today would agree with me that the trend is finally reverting again. That means the power is again coming back from the west to the east, right? And talking about east, right, in Asia. So I was reading that day, I think it was from Barclays, right? By 2050, more than 20% of Asian population would be under the category of elderly populations, right? You see what Japan is going through. And you will be surprised that the only exception to this, the lone exception to this is India as a country. The only major economy and country with the highest number of young and trained workforce, which will make our growth story sustainable and resilient in the long term. So India has already built a vibrant startup ecosystem. We just recently celebrated 100th Tech Unicorn, and we have an amazing guy, Ritesh here, who I really personally admire a lot and look up to him with all the possible manner. And I give you another perspective. So when we have 100 startups in India, what we are celebrating, to give you a very small example of the magnitude of diaspora when we're talking about, right? US alone, only talking about US, not LATAM, not Europe, not Africa, nowhere else, right? US alone, during the same time when we are building this 100 unicorns, US alone has 90 Indian unicorn founders. You see, you have $90 billion right there, right? And if you add up companies, so you see, these are unicorns we are talking about, right? A company like Coopers, I'm founder of Coopers.com, right? So we are managing, this year we should be able to manage between 130 to $150 million turnover with a mobility specs and another $30 million with a fintech. So there will be enormous, endless companies in our specification, where a company like us, the company that I'm managing, is $250 million annual turnover, right? If you put together all these numbers together, you easily hit any number which is beyond $150 to $180 billion, which is the GDP of many countries, right? So we're talking about, again, 18 million population, Indian diaspora living outside the homeland. It's a massive, massive opportunity. Now, having said all these good things about India, what we have done, there's absolutely no doubt that we have arrived. The future, the next 50, 60 years at least, would be from India. There's no single doubts about it. However, it's very important we acknowledge honestly, what we can do and where we can focus on. You see, with all the good things that we have done and all the good things that are lying ahead, right? We as a country so far haven't been able to produce these global iconic companies, right? These companies which comes in the existence and literally push the human race a few generations ahead. Let me give you some examples, right? Google, Facebook, or I don't know, Apple or Uber at the global space, right? You see your life before and after Facebook. Before I was getting on this stage, I saw at least 20, 30 people were taking this Instagram photos and everything. So you see, we haven't been able to create this global iconic company, which really makes a massive difference the way human generations has been living with or without those companies, right? And having said this also, finally, at least this is my perception, and with my little bit of idea and experience, I think we have a gem around the corner. And the name of this gem is the UPI payment system, right? The UPI payment system is one such incredible thing, the innovation that the government of India has done. I think I don't see any limit to it. It has truly all the potential to come and in all the true manner, disrupt the entire financial system in the world. So I'm aware that the government is absolutely doing everything possible to push the UPI system, payment systems everywhere globally. Just taking the opportunity and the advantage of being the stage to congratulate the government for the UPI payment system and to reassure that we are on the right way with the UPI payment system. Besides being a founder of a fintech myself, right? So at least in LATAM, we can literally take the region on the right if we take the UPI payment system there. Well, thank you once again for this wonderful invitation and being a wonderful host. And once again for keeping this city absolutely clean. Trust me, coming from Chile, this means a lot. And I hope we can take this model to the rest of the India. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you so much, Amit Sudani ji. I'm sure many of you would be having some questions and queries. So if anyone interested, we'll just take one or two questions just now, and later on in the end we'll have a open forum for question and answer session. So any of you, if you want to ask anything from Amit ji. Yeah, please.
Hello. Oh. Hi, my name is Indranil Halda and I'm from Australia. The question to you is, being a young entrepreneur of Indian heritage, how do you see you can empower Indian youth to move in the next 50 years? What would be your leadership?
Look, my answer may not be very much aspirational or very much these things. Ultimately, you see, I can only talk about from the business side. I come from a business background and have been doing business, I guess, all my life. Nobody can empower, you can facilitate people doing business, but practically business is a mindset, right? And trust me, when you build a startup, and I'm sure all my colleagues would agree more or less, it's a very depressing and very tough journey, right? So it's not like you can go and train somebody, give them some algo or some formula or groom them for business, right? So as a government, we can facilitate, we can give them all these opportunities and make life easy to do business. But practically talking about business, nobody can empower you. This is a very much self mindset wherein you really fail every day and next day you can come back to bang on, okay, I'm ready to take another bullet, right? So I'm sorry if I answered your question exactly what you were expecting, but this is my experience. I don't think you can train, or anybody can train anybody to business.
Anybody else?
Hello. Hi. Amazing speech over here. Especially on your topic on UPI, I think it's very true. It is a fantastic technology. My question is more the business model of wallet companies. How is this business model going to evolve in terms of, for example, UPI is completely free, but how are they able to run such a big infrastructure without charging any money? And is this a sustainable payment technology? Can it be replicated in other places? Can we as Indians go and replicate this in other nations and grow the payment technology in other nations? Thank you.
Thank you for the question. Well, the first part of it, whether we can do it in other nation, I think that's already happening, right? We are already rolling it out in Africa, I think in Singapore, in Mauritius, and I'm personally aware that the government is also exploring its possibilities to get into LATAM, right? So it's already happening. It's not like whether we can do it and not do it. Now the other part, can we afford it, making these losses and everything? I think that is exactly where the innovative minds comes into the picture. We have seen many companies coming, offering free services, and still making the businesses profitable, right? So definitely we cannot run to an infinite a business, right? Or anything that is making losses. But we have to figure it out. And how do we figure it out? Honestly, I don't have the answer. But what I have seen, at least in India, being in Chile, again, I'm not monitoring Indian market that well, but I have seen, at least talking about India, and a lot of market looks very similar, like Peru and all these countries, right? Where you just don't ask people to pay anything, right? You see all these big e-commerce or platforms in India, they are still struggling to make profits, right? So Netflix comes, they ask you to pay 400, 500 rupees, and the Indian says, okay, we don't want it. But the same Netflix comes and says, okay, we're going to give you a service of 50 rupees or free of cost, but you take my data or you take everything, and I don't care, you sell it for re-advertisement, remarketing, or anywhere, and that works for the population. So maybe that could be the approach. So there's no definite answer. But I'm completely sure the people who are running the UPI, they are the smartest mind in the country, and in fact in the world, right? What they have built and what they are running is not a small thing, and they will figure it out.
Thank you so much, Mr. Sudani ji, for sharing your experiences with us. Thank you.
Thanks.
Ladies and gentlemen, our next panelist is Mr. Harish Kolasni ji, but before inviting him, I would like to share about him. Harish Kolasni ji is a proactive, trusted community leader who has positively impacted over 3,66,500 lives in India and the US since 2010. He is now on a mission to establish Indian American community hubs across the US to provide free medical, psychological, domestic abuse survivor support, emergency travel support, skill development, cultural classes, youth programs, civic engagement programs. In March 2020, he established the National India Hub, and during the COVID-19 pandemic, they served over 11,500 people across the US and also mobilized the life-saving equipment worth of $1.7 million during second wave in India. And in 2010, he founded the NRI Seva Foundation, which has been providing free daily rehab, free meals, and also working for women empowerment and education. In 2016, Mr. Harish founded the Indian American Business Council to create business opportunities. In 2019, Harish ji was elected as the National President of National Council of Asian Indian Associations, for which he led the establishment of Indian Task Force that had 135 organizations from different states in the US come together to serve the community. So now we have Mr. Harish Kolasni ji. Yeah.
Thank you, Tapasya ji. Good morning. First of all, I want to ask you, is there any one person in this hall who did not help at least one other person during the pandemic? So everyone helped at least one or more people during the pandemic. And raise your hand if you remember at least one person that helped you during the pandemic. It might be your first mask or first grocery help or vaccine help, anything. So almost everyone, no one forgets the people that helped them. So that's called humanity, and you all know the beauty of it. So I'm so passionate. I mean, first of all, I'm really proud to speak with all the passionate people who are here, because you came across from different countries. You took extra effort to come here because you believed that you can build your network here, you can find your co-founder or supporter or at least a mentor to achieve your goal for a bigger cause. I really thank External Affairs Ministry, Government of Madhya Pradesh, and the Youth Affairs Ministry for giving us this great opportunity. So I want to share two stories in short which led the innovative organizations, two innovative organizations which made a big difference. It helped more than 365,000 people across the world, more in India, of course. So when I was 27-year-old, I was in trap of a regular routine. Trap, I should say. Me and my wife, we got regular 9-to-5 job. We've been making good income, and we've been spending all the money for luxury cars, all the materialistic things. And fortunately, one day, while I was swimming, I had a nerve pinch, and I was taken to the emergency, and the doctor said it might be a stroke. You need to go and check your MRI scan. So it took 1 week for us to get the MRI test and all the results. During that 1 week was a moment that changed our lives. All the time we've been thinking that we worked a lot all these years, it's time to enjoy. But when this happened, our thought process changed completely. We started thinking, what is the difference that we made in this life? Life is so short. We did no impact in our lives. And that's how we decided that 50% of our income, 50% of our time will go for someone else who are in real need. So that's the way we started NRI Seva Foundation, which helped more than 365,000 people as of today. And it is one of the first mobile physiotherapy clinic where we go to the different community centers, schools, temples, mosques, everywhere where there are seniors who are ready to help, and we coordinated the camps every day since the day we started the foundation. And every day on an average, we've been treating more than 350 patients. So each treatment, if you look into any physical therapy clinics, each treatment costs minimum 500 rupees. It goes up to 2,000 rupees depending on if they have AC or not. So people are just taking advantage of physiotherapy. That's how we came to a decision where we have to go through this process. And first of all, we saw the importance of physiotherapy. When we say always, since we started, when I say we are doing physiotherapy, people used to think, oh, it's just a treatment for joint pains or something. But it is a pot used for people who get into stroke, head injuries, they get completely paralyzed. They are the people we help. And many kids with different syndromes get help from NRI Seva. Per day, we see minimum 20 kids who get a lot of help. They come literally, they couldn't even stand. Those are the kids we make stand within few months. And many paralysis patients get the same kind of treatment, and within few months they are independent. So that is what satisfaction we get. And we never, since day one, as of now, me or anyone in our team, we never expected any thanks or anything from our patients or anyone. All we expected is if they are happy, if they are treated completely, that is our best satisfaction. And that's how we never went for any donations or anything all these days. We just had few friends who came together and we are helping together. So that's what NRI Seva is. But the best part of NRI Seva is the reason we are able to help so many people within these few years is the great treasure of India. And that is recently retired officers. Whoever retire as soon as they get retired, think about the way they feel. They've been very active all their life, and suddenly they get retired and they don't know what to do. They feel very depressed. And they have a lot of energy, particularly in India. They get retired little early than other countries, particularly US. So they do have energy, they do have passion. More than anything, they have experience and knowledge. So that is the treasure that we've been using since day one. And they are the ones who is going for every camp, every day. They just wait for our ambulance, waiting for the ambulance and just get into ambulance and go to the camps and do a lot of service along with the physiotherapist. And the reason we are able to do free treatments for so many thousands of people is the way we select the physiotherapist is a passionate therapist. We get one senior physiotherapist and we assign 2 freshers to him. In the same way, we expand actually the way we started NRI Seva, I need to tell you about this. We thought of helping at least 10 to 20 people per day. But on the day one itself, we had 45 people. Out of them, we cannot ask even one person to go back because they were in such a bad situation. So that's when we realized we need to expand, whatever it is, we need to expand, because within 1 week, we saw a paralysis patient who is a little older than me, about 30-year-old at the time, and he was able to walk within 1 week without treatment. That made us change our mind, and we want to go as much as possible, do anything possible to expand this and keep going on. And our goal of NRI Seva is have physiotherapists and same concept, replicate NRI Seva in every city across the country in India. And we will definitely do it now. And also, I want to take this opportunity, I want to take the opportunity of this stage, asking any of you can join us if you want to replicate in your city the same project. It is like we spend minimum, but we help a lot of people. So that is what we want to do. Let us know if you want to join us. Oh, great. Thank you so much. That's a great response. And please, I will be running around this area all the time, just like I've been doing all the past PBDs, because PBD is where I got a lot of networking before, and that's what I'll be doing even during this PBD. I'll be meeting many of you. And also, you can if I can meet you, if you're interested, please reach us at indiahub.org. That is my second story I'm coming to. So when pandemic happened, by that time, as Tapasya ji mentioned, I got an opportunity to become a president of one of the national organizations, which is based in DC. And it was all magic. I mean, all the time we've been doing work in India. Parallelly, I was working on projecting NRI Seva in US. So that's when I've been involving with different organizations, including the Indian consulate in Chicago. During that time, our Dr. Ausaf Saeedji was our Consul General, who is the head of PBD right now. And he promoted, he encouraged me to do different activities related to consulate events like Kala Utsav that he initiated Kala Utsav, which is having all the cultural groups coming together and perform at one time from across the Midwest region. That was a great program, and it is still continuing in a very big way. He had me to be part of it, and a yoga day was started during his term in Chicago. So many things. During that time, he involved me, and that's how my network increased, and even with PBD, it got increased. So by doing all these things, this is the reason I got the position National President of NCIA, because of my building network using all these things. So because of that role I had, and I'm not a great speaker, first of all. I speak with my work all the time. That's what my colleagues say all the time. So because of the role I got in NCIA as national president, and it was done by the chairman, Mr. Sunil Singh ji, who is in audience right now, and he trusted my work. He came to know all the work I've been doing in Chicago and back in India, and that's how he got me in. So because of that, when COVID began, Embassy of India in DC, Washington, DC, asked NCIA to create a group to help all the international students across the US who are being sent out of the dorms and colleges. So that's how we got a message. So since I'm the national president, I formed a group with 135 community organizations through which we were able to help thousands of people. These organizations include hotel associations, API even. We got together with every kind of organizations and started having continuous meetings. Everyone were people who are not even interested to get into WhatsApp, but they started using Zoom, and everyone, I mean, that was the situation. Everyone were desperate to know what's happening, how can we help more, how can we get more help. So that's how NCIA started this Indian task force. Later on, when the COVID was coming down, that's when we realized people are losing the passion. So we need to have something permanent, a physical place, a permanent physical place, through which we can help the community forever. So that's how we got the idea of National India Hub. National India Hub is a community center where any community organization come and take advantage of the physical space. That includes, we are having a preventive health care, through which basically we get a lot of visiting parents in US. So none of them have, they come with insurance, everything, but none of the insurance is covered to have preventive health care when they get any chest pain or any fever, anything that insurance doesn't cover. So those parents are not even comfortable to share their problem with their kids, and they don't even go to any checkup, and they are the ones who get into the serious situation. And that's when the insurance covers during emergency. So we want to avoid that. We want to have preventive care for every visiting parents across the US and maybe in future across the world. That is where we need technology through which we can help patients through virtual healthcare, where we can use artificial intelligence, everything possible. Technology is everything that we need. Because as of now, we have 83 physicians, volunteer physicians who are very passionate, who would like to help, but they cannot come to the clinic all the time. And that's the reason we stopped taking more volunteer physicians as of now. But if we can have any technology through which we can help, we are so fortunate, and we can immediately start using your technology. So that is the other help I want to request from this stage. If there is anyone who can help us with virtual healthcare, that will be a big help. We'll be implementing it right away. So,
Harishi was just saying, I'm sorry, please, if you allow me, that he's not a good speaker. Do you agree? He's been speaking so nicely. Harishi, we have some time constraint, as you know. So that's why we have given 8 minutes to our panelists.
Oh, yeah.
So please, if you allow me. So if any questions you have, any questions? Yeah, please. Volunteers, please give mic to the gentleman here.
Mr. Harish, first of all, congratulations for your excellent mission and asking for virtual help, and I am offering that to you for free as an international orthopedic surgeon with 25 years experience in UK and USA, last 5 years in India. I gave up my career at the peak of money, Mercedes, and much more to happily come back to Ahmedabad, and I'm even happier. So I'm happy to share my 30 years of experience and mentor you, guide you, and support you. And that's the reason I've come here at my own expense. And my name is Dr. Keyur Buch, B-U-C-H. Look me up, and we'll meet maybe at the lunchtime.
thank you so much. I'll meet you right after this.
Any other question?
Jai Hind, sir. My name is Shivi Nandini Pandey, and I'm from Guru Ghasidas Central University, Bilaspur, Chhattisgarh. Sir, I am honored to get the opportunity to ask a question from you. Sir, as we all know that India is a rural governed country, so will it be possible to replicate your idea at rural level, which are remote areas, and have that innovation and technologies to help that rural peoples?
Exactly, that is what we want to do across the globe, is what it is. That's why we need virtual healthcare, where our volunteer physicians, when we ourselves got so many physicians, think about so many organizations who are here can gather other volunteer physicians. So it will be definitely helpful anywhere across the world, particularly in rural areas. That is where there's a big need.
So we will be blessed to have your guidance.
Definitely. So everyone, please connect us at IndiaHub, indiahub.org, if you want to work with us on any of these projects, please.
Well, thank you so much, Mr. Harish Kolasniji. Ladies and gentlemen, we are having a discussion on role of diaspora youth in innovations and new technologies. And our next panelist is Mr. Bharat Sharma, who is the founder and CEO of the Europe's leading e-commerce solution provider agency, that is Monsoon Consulting. Monsoon Consulting's commerce technology powers over 1 billion euro in transaction value per annum for their clients around the world. He's also a co-founder and promoter of fast-growing elite online fashion brand DDNews.com. And Bharatji has his offices in Dublin, Ireland, London, Portugal, and Ukraine. And over the years, the business has been working with some of the leading industry clients in UK and Ireland, including brands like Cisco Food, Topline, Heat Merchant Black Hawk Networks, Kilkenny Shop, and Liverpool Foot Club. And DDNews.com has its workshop and design studio in Jaipur, and launching its online presence and distribution centers in Europe, UK, Middle East, and India. Stage is all yours now, Bharatji.
Thank you very much, Tapasya ji. Good morning, everyone. My name is Bharat Sharma. I live in Dublin, in Ireland. And today I will just cover 3 parts in my talk for these 8 minutes. I will talk about my experience, the journey of my career, how I started from India, grew here, and end up finding myself in Europe, and end up becoming an entrepreneur. Then I'll tell you a little bit more about my entrepreneurship, what I am doing, what I'm up to until now. And then for the youths, what are my observations, and based on my experience, what are the tips I can share to my younger brothers from my home country, from India. So my name is Bharat. I am originally from Jaipur, from Rajasthan. And there is a very interesting fact about myself, an MP. So today, Mananiya Chief Minister sir said that he's mama for all the Indians living abroad. He's actually literally mama for me because my mother comes from MP. So I'm actually a domicile. My mom is from Mallargarh, a place right beside Mandsaur. So it's a pleasure to be home. And every time I come to this part of the world, I found it like home. It's people, the warmth you offer, the hospitality you offer, it's absolutely amazing. So thank you very much again. So coming back to my background, traditional middle class family is my background. I studied in a typical Hindi medium school. No one in my family ever had entrepreneurship or business background or even have ever lived in abroad. The furthest my family has probably been to is New Delhi. So it was all new for me, and I completed my engineering in computer science in 1996 from a college called Engineering College, Kota in Rajasthan. From there, my first job was in India for a very small job. Then I took a government sector job, didn't like it, so quit. And my last job in India was with TCS as a software programmer. And then I was headhunted to join British Airways in London in 1998. And my last full-time job was, I was a consultant to European Union designing framework funding system. I was a project manager and technical architect for that. And then I quit. And then I founded a company called MuIQ, which was something to do with the mobile technology. I had a few provisional patents on that. And I also founded IndiaResult.com, which is a very popular education portal, quite heavily used in Rajasthan, in northern part of the India. I authored a book about outsourcing to India. You can buy it on Amazon today. Not really recommended. And I have a couple of degrees and diplomas from ESMT Berlin, Dublin Institute of Technology. Today, as a CEO and founder of Monsoon Consulting, my business is one of the leading e-commerce agency in Europe. The turnover on my business is crossing about €1 billion per year, which is about 9,000 crores rupees. That's my clients are transacting day by day in a year. We are known for some of the very complex e-commerce implementation in Europe, including projects like Liverpool Football Clubs, Primex Solutions, Cisco. They all are global brands. I have offices in Dublin, in Ireland, in London, in Belfast, in UK, in Lisbon, in Portugal, and in Ukraine, I have office in Kiev. In my team, I have people working from more than 12 or 13 different nationalities. That includes British, Irish, Ukrainian, Portuguese, South African, Brazilians, Indians, Pakistanis, Spanish. I don't care, as long as they are talented and willing to work hard, they're welcome to join my team. Today, I'm trying to transform my business from an IT service business to a technology platform business. So I have created a new product called Apex. As Mananiya Minister Sir said, it's all about artificial intelligence, the ABCs. My platform is using artificial intelligence, chatbot, and those virtual reality, and I'm trying to create a B2B e-commerce software called Apex. It's funded by European Union, and I already have acquired clients and momentum on that as well. Along with that, I have founded a new fashion brand called dheerajsharma.com. My younger brother is a fashion designer, and that's the background, and I have a factory and design studio in Jaipur to back that up. So that's all about me, but the most important thing is the youth from India. What is there for them? How can they take advantage of experience and journey of people like me? So first thing I would say is we all need to be absolutely proud of brand India and the achievement we have already done. If you look at the top 25 IT companies in the world, Google, Microsoft, Adobe, MasterCard, you just name it. We have done so much better, and I think we should be really clap and celebrate that. So when we talk about like the topic today, we are saying that how the technology and innovation is going to influence in the youth. I think we need to flip it. The fact is, it's our youth who is influencing the innovation and technology at the global level, and that is an achievement for us, and I'm really proud of claiming that. Brand India is shining, but for sure, we can do better. There is a lot of opportunities, and we are just warming up as a country, as a nation of highly talented, pride, hardworking people. So there are three things as a youth we normally aspire for. You might like to become an entrepreneur, you might like to look for a great job based on your skills, or you might like to go for research or academia. Doesn't matter what is your dream, but one thing I can assure you, there is a huge demand for great skills and people from India because of the brand, and that demand is outweighing the supply. The question is, how do we take advantage of that and make the best for you and best for our great country? So there are some suggestions I have for the youth based on my learnings and observation. First thing is, always be niche, be specific. When you are young and there are so many ideas are flying around, if you are in IT, you want to be a semiconductor designer, you might like to be a software engineer, you might like to be a project manager. Doing everything doesn't work. You need to be expert and specialize in a specific niche and be just champion of that. You should know that subject knowledge absolutely thoroughly. Be transparent. That's one of the fundamental points as a culture. When we come from India, we are quite cognizant to say no. When you go to abroad, you need to be specific and say, yes, I can do this, and no, it's not practical to do within that time frame or my skills. As long as you are transparent, you will grow your credibility, people will respect you. But if you are giving commitments and saying yes for the things which is not realistic, in the long term, your brand will devalue, and that could be a problem. When you're going for internationalization of your business, your skills, you need to localize. So make sure you adapt the language. Make sure if you are an e-commerce business coming out from India, you need to have a local payment gateway services. If you're looking at Europe or America as a viable market for you, you need to make sure you comply with the data protection policies, the GDPRs. So we always need to look at outward inward as much as inward outwards. That means you might be very smart, you might have a great skills, but you need to do the research, who you are trying to reach out to. what they're looking for, what value you can achieve to them. Therefore, be research focused. And then one more thing, jugaad doesn't work, guys. I've hired a lot of engineers worldwide. One thing that comes all the time, "Arey, chalta hai, I copied, paste the source code, it's compiling, I can deliver the functionality." It doesn't matter. You need to be absolutely passionate about the quality. No jugaad, please, and you will see the success you will get out of it. As one of my colleague, and I think respected Minister Sir said, network, social media. Indian diaspora is so successful. Reach out to us. Get out of the door. Just don't waste your time only doing Facebook. There is other social media likes of LinkedIn. You can reach out to people, ask for help, and you'll be amazed the amount of resources and facilities available to help you out internationally. Be innovative. The last one, be confident. Our youth is as much talented and probably more than any student coming out from MITs and London School of Business. I've hired and worked with all of them. You guys are absolutely talented. But you need to be confident and take your chances. That's some of the suggestions. I could give more suggestions about the policy level for government, but I'm sure they are doing a great job. We can see the momentum we have as a country. But one thing I would love to see as India, as a brand, which we have done quite good, is IT services, skills. I think the next step of innovation is R&D and innovation. In the technology sector, we need to evolve. We need to go to the next level of maturity. I would like to see a Microsoft or an Apple or some product coming from India, and rest of the world is paying licenses for that, not just coding. I think this is where we need to go. And then if India needs to become a global economy, we need to be compatible with the global world. Therefore, I hope at the policy level, we are looking at becoming GDPR adequacy, data compatibility, data protection laws, so people have a trust to send work to India and use Indian platform. Education system, great, there are loads of things we could do, but I think I'm enough to cover this part. The one last thing, as I said, we should back ourselves. One thing, a very recent success story and a brand value is IPL. And why IPL has been so successful? Because we are taking not only the Indian youth, we are actually taking talent from Australia, the England, the best of the best breed comes in, talent get mixed up, and then they learn from each other. When it comes to career, IT, technology, I think we need to open and invite these talents from the entire world. Let them come to India, work in our offices, let our youth to work with them, do this cross-pollination, and then only we will become a real success story, in my opinion. So that ambition and confidence to open up, I think this is what I would love to see itself going. That's me done. Thank you very much. Happy to take any questions. Reach out to me if you are youth, if you're looking for help, you're always welcome. I'll give you my
Thank you
LinkedIn
so
connection.
much, Bharat Sharma ji. As I already said, we have time constraints, so any questions? Yeah, please.
Well, I thank the speaker. It was a great speech and very to the ground. I also had similar lot of things to say, but now I don't have to say because you said them. Now, mainly, I actually have come here. I attended the first Pravasi Bharatiya Divas in Delhi in 2003. And I feel sorry that I couldn't make my ideas practical.
Sir, I'm sorry, if you can just simply ask the question.
Yeah, the question now is, you are focusing a lot on the Indian youth. I also agree with you 100% that our Indian youth has to be attended, and we should plan for them. And I certainly really request...
Sir, my humble request, please specific question if you have.
Yeah. How can we reach, with the help of the government of Madhya Pradesh and the other governments to all the youth in India, just talking about will not do. We have to reach the new entrepreneurs, new startups, which government talks about all the time. How can we reach them, we who are Pravasis, and this exhibition and the whole thing is done for us? How can we reach them? Can we get a list from the government?
Thank you for the question. Please, Bharatji, please.
So, great question, by the way. And I agree with you. We need to be accessible.
Yes.
We need to be available for these youths to reach out to the success stories, to the outside of the India, to Pravasi Bharatiya. Personally, I feel, in my experience, and I work with Embassy of Ireland on a regular basis, they're very open, very transparent, and I work with them on a regular basis, and we do organize mentoring sessions. When there is a trip or a college student reach out to the embassy, they forward the details to us. Maybe we could make it a bit more structured and formal environment at embassy level, where they could have a room or a forum, and if students or youth from India would like to reach out and join in UK or Ireland, that forum can invite the entrepreneurs or subject knowledge experts from the country. But I personally feel, if you are an entrepreneur and if you want to get out, it's great to have these facilities, but in the world of social media, there is enough for you to show your Udyamshilta. Get out, do your research, LinkedIn, you will find someone. If you need help, you will get a help. Just you need to make a little bit more effort and more smart about it. So yes, facilities are good, but for entrepreneurs, we sail across other side of the stream, and we could find it if you really want to. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Bharat Sharma ji, for sharing your views, your experiences with us.
Hi.
So, ladies and gentlemen, we still have three. I'm sorry, ma'am, we are running short of time. We already have three more panelists to speak, actually. So, I'll now invite Rahul Jain ji. Rahul Jain ji is the CEO and co-founder of Peach Payments, a leading payments gateway in South Africa, Kenya, and Mauritius. Peach Payment provides online payment solutions to businesses in these countries. Rahul Jain ji was born and brought up in Delhi and moved to Cape Town, South Africa in 2012 to start Peach Payments. Previously, he worked with the strategy consulting firm in Boston, USA, where he advised large retailers and airlines regarding e-commerce, marketing, and ancillary revenue streams. It's all over to you, please.
Thank you, Tapasya ji. Hello everyone, my name is Rahul Jain. As Tapasya ji said, I grew up in Delhi. Originally, spent my youth here, studied in Bangalore, then went for an MBA to Spain, from there to Boston, and finally spent the last 10 years in Cape Town running Peach Payments. First of all, thank you Anurag ji, Nishit ji, Ministry of External Affairs for this opportunity to share my story. But I thought a lot about, okay, what am I going to talk about, right? And the first question people ask me whenever they hear about Peach Payments in Africa is like, why Africa? What made you go to the other end of the earth and sit at the tip of Africa? And I think if I look back, Africa today represents an opportunity that for me seems like India 5 years ago. So if I've missed the India train, this is the best place to invest and build as a citizen. So that was the reason. I was working and living in Boston, strategy consulting, as you do, and then someone called me and said, hey, do you want to do payments in Africa? And this was in 2012. That time fintech wasn't even a word. So I packed my bags, took a flight, went to Cape Town, and every time it used to be like, 6 months more, and then I'll move back to India. And 10 years later, I'm still there. There's a massive opportunity for Indians today to do business, to build business, to expand in Africa. A bit about Peach Payments, what do we do? When I used to introduce Peach earlier, I used to say, we are the Stripe of Africa. And now, with the Indian tech ecosystem doing so well, I can say, we're the Razorpay of Africa. Right? So what we do is, if you want to shop online, you want to buy any product or service through a digital channel, we provide the business all the tools that they need to sell through that digital channel and take your money. So we're in South Africa, we're in Kenya, we're in Mauritius, we're going to Uganda next, targeting another 2 countries. And I think this is also the opportunity of Africa. In India, we have 130 crore people today. Across 54 countries in Africa, there's over 1 billion people. More than 60% of Africa's population is under the age of 25. And I think those were the stats, those were the demographics that make it such an attractive opportunity and destination. But I said, I'm very passionate about the India-Africa corridor as well. We've been part of and organizing an India-Africa investment summit for the past few years. And there are huge opportunities there, whether it's for tech startups, whether it's for traditional businesses. A lot of global tech businesses are using India as their development hubs. The amount of engineering talent that's available over here is immense. And we talked about Jugaad, but I would disagree with Bharat. I think one of the reasons why Indians do well abroad is because we have an innate ability to work in uncertain environment and to deal with uncertainty, which is not easy, especially if you're an entrepreneur. You go from boom to bust from one day to the next, and to work in that uncertainty, I think that ability is something you grow up with over here. And I think that's why a lot of us, whether it's global Fortune 500 CEOs or the top big tech CEOs are of Indian origin. So the big question for me was, how do we facilitate? What role can we play as speech payments in facilitating this cross-border trade between India and Africa? So, one of the things we've been starting to work on a lot is how do we enable Indian businesses to transact or to sell to African consumers? So whether it's a SaaS product out of India or it's an Indian retailer, So for us as speech payments, we can provide last mile payment rails that businesses can use to monetize their users in those countries. We're starting to do that for large global businesses, your Netflixes, Ubers of the world that want to sell their product and service to African consumers. And at the same time, I think the government's doing a lot. I was recently in Mauritius. We have an office there, met with the governor of the Reserve Bank there and with the banking partners, and UPI is being launched in Mauritius. So as an Indian citizen, if you're traveling abroad, now you don't need to carry an international credit card or anything. You go to Mauritius, you can scan your QR code in your UPI app and you can pay, and that's a huge advantage. So how do we as Speech then participate in that ecosystem, enable acceptance of Indian payment tools in these locations also is something that we want to facilitate. The other thing for me personally is also taking inspiration from Indian entrepreneurs. I've always said, I don't know how, but Indian entrepreneurs have this ability to scale. You meet them once, it's 10 people, you meet them next month, it's 250 people in that company. So how do we learn from that? And I think that's, phenomenal. I mean, we have Ritesh here, but there's 50 unicorns during COVID. For us as a diaspora, as entrepreneurs abroad, taking inspiration from that is a huge opportunity. Lastly, I think Minister Dr. Jaishankar mentioned that Indian missions are playing a role in spreading culture, but I think they're also playing a massive role in supporting business. I've been living abroad for 14 years now, and I can say in the last 5 to 6 years, we've seen a noticeable difference, whether it's the consulate contacting you, staying in touch with you, supporting you, or inviting you to be part of events. And so I think as a citizen living abroad, that's been a huge, huge change that we've noticed. The reason why I'm here is because the Consul General in Cape Town, Mr. Ashok Babu, he pushed me. He said, hey, we need to represent Africa at the Pravasi Bharati Divas. And it's people like him who are, making sure that these stories, I mean, I'm just one entrepreneur. There's 34 million other people, Indians living abroad. So there are many stories to share and many lessons to be learned from that. And in the end, if you think there are any opportunities or if there's any help that I can provide, I'm always available. But thank you for your time, and I appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Rahul Jain ji. Any questions?
Am I audible?
Yeah, please.
Jai Hind, Namaste. My name is Priyanka Bissa, NSS awardee, Raipur, Chhattisgarh, India. Thank you so much for the insightful session we had today. But I just wanted to shift our focus to the challenges which we as a youth and as entrepreneur face in innovations and new technologies. To be very precise, I wanted to know your views about green computing, green internet. As we all know, we are moving forward to digitalization. So it is very important to keep these things in our mind, because every one of us right now using social media, which is creating a big data, and the servers are loaded fully, and data centers also increasing thermal energy.
Thank you for the question. Yeah, thank you.
Please give some insights to it. Thank you.
Sure, absolutely. I think, it's undeniable, that climate change and climate tech, there's a big area of investment now in the VC space around climate tech. So I'm sure, green computing, and that's definitely top of mind. As an entrepreneur, as a business, we can only choose where we spend our dollars. So prioritizing sustainable solutions and making sure that we pick vendors and providers and partners that can enable and promote climate tech and, such green solutions. We definitely look at that and support that. From a youth perspective, what I can say is entrepreneurship is the biggest job creator in the world today. So, whether it is, it's the jobs creation and the youth employment is coming from entrepreneurship. And every small business has the potential to be the next Fortune 500. So, the reason, there's a stat, like 95% of all startups fail. My opinion is, okay, there's definitely, businesses that inherently don't work, but majority of the cases is people give up too soon. So from my own experience, I've been doing this for 10 years. There have been many weeks when we've been out of business and many weeks when we've been at the top of the world. I think persistence pays, and I would just encourage that.
Thank you so much, Rahul Jain ji. Thank you. I'm sorry.
One question, please.
We'll have questions in the last also, once we are done with our panelists. So we'll have a question answer session after that, please.
Thank you.
Hello.
Thank you. Thank you for now. We'll let you speak, please. Thank you. So next we have, ladies and gentlemen, Ms. Simran Kaur. With only 15 to 25% of women investing, globally recognized investing expert, Ms. Simran Kaur founded Girls That Invest, a money media company that has become the world's #1 investing podcast for women with over 2.5 million downloads. Mantra of Ms. Simran ji is putting money into the hands of women. Ma'am, we are actually desperate to listen to you. Okay, something about you. Simran ji would be speaking at UK House of Parliament for International Women's Day this year only in March 2023. And her best-selling book, Girls That Invest, has topped charts in the USA, Canada, UK and New Zealand. Ma'am, it's all over to you. Thank you.
Thank you for the very kind introduction. Hello, my name is Simran Kaur, and I was born in Kurukshetra, Haryana. I'm the founder of Girls That Invest, which is the world's largest e-learning platform for women who want to gain financial literacy. Forbes describes us as the global movement and destination for women of all ages and backgrounds to learn about financial literacy. Girls That Invest is a 7-figure fintech startup that began only 2.5 years ago. Since then, it has been featured in Vogue, Business Insider, BBC, United Nations, Oxford, and more. Girls That Invest in November 2021 was the #1 business podcast on Apple and Spotify in the US, #1 in the UK, #1 in Canada, #2 in Australia, and #1 in New Zealand, where I'm from. It is now in the 1% of podcasts followed globally, and we have thousands of members that take our investing and financial literacy masterclass in over 60 countries. So how did this all begin? Being born in India and raised overseas, I saw firsthand the lack of financial literacy that women experienced. In India, 62% of women do not have access to a bank account. Around the world, only 16 to 24% of women actually invest. And in the US, only 2% of households have the mother take charge of the financial outcomes. But that does not mean that women are bad with money. In India, women hold the largest percent of gold in the world. Indian women understand that gold is highly liquid, it is easy to turn into cash, it is our emergency funds and our investments. It is also a great hedge against inflation, which we're currently experiencing globally. Our great-grandmothers understood the power of gold before any hedge fund manager was able to. One thing that we keep seeing is that we often ask, how do we empower women? Everyone's asking the same question. How do we make women equals? How do we bring equality or equity into the gender diversity that we have? A lot of people speculate what we can do, but to me, the answer is within financial literacy. Having money does not mean having a nice car. It does not mean having a large plot. Those things are nice, but having money means choice. Money means freedom. It means opportunity. When you give a young woman money, when you give her financial freedom, it means that she is able to say no. She's able to leave situations that are unsafe or situations that do not serve her. When you have financial freedom, you can leave a job where you feel uncomfortable. You can leave an abusive marriage. You can leave any situation that disrespects you or does not serve you. And this is the importance of having financial freedom. I saw firsthand growing up the effects that the lack of financial literacy had on the women around me. And it made me very passionate about making sure that no one else, man or woman, had to experience a life that they were settling for, and instead were able to experience a life that they chose because they had the tools to do so. Now, I didn't have a background in the startup world when I began. I simply saw a gap in something that I knew needed to exist. In 2020, when the pandemic hit, I began Girls That Invest. Now, only 2% of female of color businesses reach the 7-figure mark, or reach making about $1 million a year. When Girls That Invest hit that mark, I knew that I wanted to come back and speak about the experience of what we can do to create more startups, especially among our youth population. There are 3 golden rules that I have found extremely helpful to creating a startup, and I wanted to share them with you today. The first is understanding the power of community. Now, as Indians, we do one thing very well, and that is that we are community and family focused. It is our strength and it is our power. 85% of Indian youth have access to a smartphone and therefore access to social media. Harnessing the power of building a community with the power of the online space has been astronomical in our ability to grow the brand. We've been able to reach people all around the world, and the one way that we highly recommend doing so if you're looking to create a startup is finding that online space where you can find people that are like-minded, that are going to become your customers, and you can do so for free. For an entire year, before we offered any products or services, we were offering free education, free workshops, free online webinars, free tools, free podcasts, so that when it came to the time when we had products and services, We had hundreds of thousands of customers worldwide that trusted us and were ready to take on our services. Number two, which may be a bit controversial, is that if you are being told no as a young startup founder, you are asking the wrong person. Let me say that again. If you are being told no, it's a bad idea, no, we won't fund you, no, don't do that, you are asking the wrong person. Now, Indian youth are one of the, if not the most innovative people in the APAC region. One of the things that we do well is that we're able to find alternative methods to reaching our goals. One of the experiences I had with Girls That Invest is as we were growing, I thought, you know what, we should probably let the media know of all this amazing work that we're doing so we can spread our reach further across the globe. And when we reach out to the media, they said, no, we're not covering that story. It's not that interesting what you're doing. And I think any normal person in that moment would say, okay, maybe they're right, they're older than me, they know better than me, maybe it's not that good of a business idea. But the one thing I did is I said to them, what do I need to do to come back in 6 months' time for that no to be turned into a yes? And I find that in every situation when we hit a roadblock in the business, it is not about taking no for an answer, it is about finding an alternative path to get what you need to. And I truly believe that is why we've been able to achieve so much in just 2.5 years. The third and final thing that I have found extremely helpful in the startup space is the idea that it is better to do things at 80% rather than achieving nothing at 100%. Now, the studies vary, but Indian youth, we are perfectionists, we are highly perfectionists. 1 in 4 out of us suffer from being high perfectionists, and that's not always a bad thing. If you are my surgeon, I want you to be a perfectionist. If you are the pilot landing my plane, I would like you to be perfect at that. But if you are a startup founder or you have an idea for a business, I often see when I'm mentoring 2 groups of people. There is one type of person that wants it to be perfect, the perfect branding, the perfect idea, the perfect name, the perfect product, and they end up trying to be so perfect that nothing happens. Their idea never goes to market. They never are able to try and get feedback on what happens. The best founders in the startup space are people that are comfortable with their products being 80% best. Doesn't have to be perfect, but they get it out there, they take feedback quickly, and they're able to pivot. And by doing that, that is going to make a huge difference, and they get so much further ahead. If we as a nation can build founders that are comfortable with not having perfect products, but comfortable with taking initiative and trying and learning and failing upwards, we're going to see a lot more substantial and exponential growth. One of our subsidiaries in the business is the podcast, where we teach about financial literacy to women around the world. Now, if we had waited until we had the best equipment, if we waited until we had the best products and the best ideas, we probably would never have released the content, released the podcast. The first time we recorded, we still have those recordings up. It was so bad looking at it now. We could hear people in the background washing dishes in the recordings. I lived near a hospital. You could hear the helicopters in the recordings. We were recording in our bedrooms because we didn't have the money to record in a professional studio. But we followed that 80% rule. It is better to start and try, and if we make mistakes, we will learn. And that has been quite literally the secret to our success, to, in 2.5 years, having a TED Talk, getting in Forbes, writing a book, reaching millions of women worldwide. These things would not happen if we waited for our products to be perfect. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Simranji. And we wish to have some tips from you, how to raise funds. Any questions, please? Yeah, please.
Yes. Hi, good afternoon. And you talk about financial security for the women, especially for the youth. And what if our tradition, if our culture does not allow for the youth to have financially secured, because they can be misused as well. So what is your say on that?
That is a great question. I think people have the misconception that personal finance is just related to securities, just related to investing or to owning real estate. But good personal finance that allows men and women to have freedom also includes things like having some emergency funds, includes things like understanding that the best way to be free is to work through a job where you are able to be brave enough to ask for a raise. There are lots of small things, budgeting for example. These are many ways that we can have financial freedom and wealth at the same time without perhaps having to go against our beliefs.
5 countries. Ritesh ji founded OYO 10 years ago in 2012 after his own experiences as a solo teenager traveler in India, staying at small hotels and guest houses. He began his career as an entrepreneur. And to tell you about Ritesh ji more, currently he serves as a FICCI Executive Committee member and CII National Council member. It's all over to you, please.
Thank you, ma'am. आज मध्य प्रदेश के पावन धरती में है, तो साथ मिलकर के शुरू करेंगे जय महाकाल। हमने सोचा कि आज हिंदी में बात करने की कोशिश करेंगे, तो जो हिंदी ना समझें शायद आप अगर माइक का इस्तेमाल करना चाहें। सबसे पहले माननीय मंत्री जी बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद, आपने हमें यहाँ पे बुलाया। माननीय मंत्री जी नायक, मेरे को पैनलिस्ट, काफ़ी एमिनेंट पैनलिस्ट हैं हमारे साथ में। आज मैंने बड़े दोस्त बनाया। आज यहाँ पे हमारे पास चिली से, यूएस से, साउथ अफ्रीका से, न्यूजीलैंड से दोस्त बने। मैं आपको ये बताना चाहता हूँ, आपका भारत का दोस्त मैं हूँ। आपको जो भी स्टार्टअप्स का इंफॉर्मेशन, लिस्ट, इंट्रोडक्शन चाहिए भारत में, आप मुझे याद करें, पर जब आपकी ज़रूरत पड़ेगी आपके देश में, आपको बिल्कुल याद करेंगे। मेरा ये आप सबके लिए न्योता है। मेरा रिलेशनशिप प्रवासी भारतीय दिवस से पहली बार बनारस से शुरू हुआ, जब वहाँ पे होम स्टेज की दरकार पड़ी। वहाँ पे हमने पहली बार बनारस में, क्योंकि होटल्स की थोड़ी कमी थी, तो हमने होम स्टेज को कुछ ओयो में कन्वर्ट किया और वहाँ पे गेस्ट को ला करके ठहराया। मुझे आप लोगों को बोल के खुशी हो रही है आज कि उसके बाद में उसी टेक्नोलॉजी को जो हमने इंडिया में शुरुआत करी, उसे हमने दुनिया भर में स्केल किया है। आज हमारे पास 80,000 से ज़्यादा विलाज यूरोप में उस टेक्नोलॉजी को यूज़ कर रहे हैं जो कि बनारस के पहले प्रवासी दिवस में इस्तेमाल की गई थी। तो बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। मेरा तो पर्सनल थैंकफुलनेस है इस इवेंट के साथ में। मैंने सोचा कि हमारे पैनलिस्ट के पास काफ़ी एक्सपीरियंस है। मैं अभी भी मतलब मेरे को कंपनी चलाते हुए 10 साल हो चुके हैं, पर आई एम स्टिल इन माई 20s। तो मुझे लगा कि मेरे पास इतना भी एक्सपीरियंस नहीं है कि मैं रिफ्लेक्ट करके आपको एक्सपीरियंसेस से नॉलेज बता सकूं, पर मैं ये ज़रूर बता सकता हूं कि इन 10 सालों में मैंने क्या सीखा है। और उसके अंदर में दोनों भारतीय मूल के जो इंडिया में लोग रह रहे हैं रेसिडेंट्स, और उसके साथ साथ प्रवासी, साथ में मिलकर के भारत का जो नेक्स्ट 10 ईयर्स का गोल्डन डेकेड जो हम कहते हैं, जो अमृत काल की हम बात कर रहे हैं, उसमें कैसे कंट्रीब्यूट कर सकते हैं, उसकी मैं कुछ लर्निंग्स में सोच रहा था आपसे शेयर करूं। सबसे पहला मुझे लगा कि एक मैं बात करना चाहता हूँ द न्यू इंडियन एस्पिरेशन की, द न्यू इंडियन ड्रीम की, एक भारतीय सपना। मैं इंडिया के एक छोटे गांव रायगढ़ से आता हूं, जो कि उड़ीसा आंध्र प्रदेश बॉर्डर में है। आप में से कई लोगों ने जगह का नाम भी नहीं सुना होगा। वहाँ पे जनरली हमारे दोस्तों में एम्बिशन बहुत छोटी होती थी कि क्या हम बरहमपुर, संबलपुर, राउरकेला हमारे लिए सबसे बड़ी शहर होती थी कि अगर आप राउरकेला जा सकें तो आपने बहुत अच्छा किया। पर उस समय इंटरनेट आ गया देश में, लोगों के हाथों में। तब तक मोबाइल तो नहीं आया था, बट इंटरनेट की एक्सेस शुरू हो गई थी और न्यूज़पेपर्स की नॉलेज थी। तब मैंने पहली बार देखा कि 25 साल, 30 वर्ष, 35 वर्ष के लोग दुनिया भर में एंटरप्रेन्योर बन रहे हैं। तो मैंने सोचा हम क्यों नहीं। और ये मेरे हिसाब से एक बहुत बड़ा बदलाव इंडिया में आया है, जहाँ पर आज आप अगर किसी छोटे गांव में बैठे हुए हैं तो आप ये नहीं सोचते कि मैं टियर 4 टाउन में कोई अच्छा चीज़ करूँ, आप ये नहीं सोचते कि मैं अपने राज्य उड़ीसा में कोई अच्छा काम करूँ, आप ये नहीं सोचते कि मैं सिर्फ भारतवर्ष में कुछ अच्छा काम करूँ। आज भारत का नौजवान दुनिया में सबसे बड़ी चीज़ें बनाने की क्षमता और उसके साथ साथ एम्बिशन रखता है। ये एक नया भारत का सपना है। अब इसमें आपको लगता होगा कि ये सब हुआ कैसे। अब तो मतलब जब हमने 10 साल या 20 साल पहले भारत को देखा था तब तो सपना होता था कि क्या आपको एक IT सर्विसेज कंपनी में नौकरी मिल जाए। मेरे पेरेंट्स का भी यही सपना था। तो ये कैसे बदला? मुझे लगता है इसमें जो भारत में हम लोग कहते हैं जैम ट्रिनिटी, उसका एक बहुत बड़ा योगदान है। लोगों को नॉलेज मिला, लोगों को पता चला कि कैसे दुनिया भर में नई नई बड़ी आविष्कार हो रही हैं, और फिर उनके बगल में आपने अपने आप को देखा और सोचा कि मैं इनसे तो कम नहीं, क्यों ना मैं भी ऐसा कुछ कोशिश करूं। और उसके बाद में टेक्नोलॉजी, चाहे वो UPI हो, चाहे वो आधार हो, जो भी अलग अलग टेक्नोलॉजीज़ हैं, उनके इस्तेमाल से आज एक नया बिजनेस शुरू करना बहुत आसान हो गया। एक हमारे सज्जन ने सवाल पूछा, UPI तो पैसे नहीं बनाती, ये कैसे दुनिया भर में स्केल करेंगे? सच्चाई बताऊं तो मुझे भी नहीं पता, पर मैं ये आपको बता सकता हूं कि जो आज भारत की 100 यूनिकॉर्न्स खड़ी हुई हैं, वो सारी UPI की बदौलत खड़ी हुई हैं। तो मेरा तो बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद है UPI के लिए कि आज के दिन में अगर आज भारतवर्ष में 10,000 से ज़्यादा होटल और करोड़ों कस्टमर हमें यूज़ करते हैं। अगर ये मैं पिछले जनरेशन में कोशिश करता इतने होटल्स बनाने की, तो मुझे इतने सेल्स, देश भर में हज़ारों सेल्स ऑफिसेस बनाने पड़ते, बहुत पैसे लगते, बहुत समय लगता। आज के दिन में लोगों के मोबाइल में ऐप आ जाती है, 100 मिलियन मेरे ऐप डाउनलोड्स हैं, लोग उसके अंदर रूम बुक करते हैं और उसके साथ में ऑनलाइन पेमेंट करके ठहर जाते हैं। तो ये पहला चीज़ है। आप जब किसी भारतीय नौजवान से मिलें, उसका सपना मत का मांगिएगा, वो बड़े सपने देख रहा है और उसे मदद कीजिएगा। दूसरा जो मैं आपको बड़ी चीज़ बताना चाह रहा था कि भारतीय स्टार्टअप्स जो हैं, आज हमने बात करी कई हमारे मित्रों ने कि आज 100 यूनिकॉर्न्स हैं। आपको मैं ये समझाना चाहता हूँ कि एक यूनिकॉर्न का मतलब हर यूनिकॉर्न सिर्फ 7,000 करोड़ की वैल्यूएशन की कंपनी नहीं होती। हर स्टार्टअप कम से कम 1000 और नौकरियां देता है, सैकड़ों और बिजनेसेस को अपने आसपास में ग्रो करता है और मिलियंस ऑफ कस्टमर्स को मदद करता है। सिर्फ भारत में नहीं, दुनिया भर में। आज आप देखेंगे भारत से निकल करके इतनी स्टार्टअप्स हैं जो दुनिया भर में डोमिनेट कर रही हैं। आप में से कितने लोगों ने जोहो का नाम सुना है? ZOHO, जोहो नाम की कंपनी का। तो मुझे लग रहा है 10 से 15% लोगों ने तो सुना है। ये श्रीधर जी की कंपनी है, उन्होंने मद्रास में, ये तमिलनाडु में शुरू करी, वहाँ के गांव में। आज दुनिया भर में वो एक बहुत बड़ी तरीके से, जितने ग्लोबल सॉफ्टवेयर जायंट्स की आज हमने बात कही, उन सारी कंपनीज़ों से कम्पीट कर रही है भारत से निकल करके। ऐसे ही बहुत सारी और कंपनियां हैं, हमारी भी कंपनियां दुनिया भर में 35 देशों से ज़्यादा में। मुझे आप लोगों को बता करके बहुत खुशी हो रही है कि उसमें हमें सबसे ज़्यादा मदद प्रवासी भारतीयों का ही मिला है। चाहे हम जर्मनी में गए, लैटिन अमेरिका में गए, बहुत धन्यवाद, US में गए। हमारे पहले होटल ओनर्स जो थे, कुछ हमारे होटल ओनर्स आज एक्चुअली US से यहाँ पधारे हैं। चाहे हमारे होटल ओनर है जयंती भाई पटेल, चाहे हमारे ओनर है माइक पटेल साहब, चाहे हमारे पहले टीम मेंबर्स हैं, वो सारे प्रवासी भारतीय जिन्होंने हमें मदद किया और उन्होंने कहा कि आप भारत से आए हैं, हमें आपका सॉफ्टवेयर टेक्नोलॉजी क्या है क्या नहीं पता नहीं, हम आपको मदद करना चाहते हैं। हमने बहुत समय जो है विदेशी कंपनियों के साथ काम किया, अभी आपको मदद करना चाहते हैं। तो मेरा यही रिक्वेस्ट है आपसे कि जब भारत से कोई कंपनी आए आपके पास में, तो उन्हें मदद कीजिएगा, जैसा लोगों ने मुझे मदद किया, और उस कारण से आज हम एक बड़ी सक्सेस की तरफ बढ़ रहे हैं। आखिरी 2 चीज़ें मैं जो बताना चाहता हूँ, एक है भारत के अंदर में मैन्युफैक्चरिंग और सर्विसेज दोनों में बहुत अपॉर्चुनिटी है। आप जिस भी देश में हैं, आप कोशिश करिए कि वहाँ की प्रॉब्लम्स को समझिए, और भारत में आपके पास टैलेंट चाहे मैन्युफैक्चरिंग में चाहे सर्विसेज में चाहे, आपके पास तैयार है। मैं कल जब इंदौर आया, मैंने देखा कि बड़ी सारी जापानीज सॉफ्टवेयर कंपनीज के बोर्ड्स लगे हुए थे, क्योंकि वो सारी कंपनीज जो है वहाँ पे प्रॉब्लम समझती हैं। वहाँ पे जो उनकी इंडियन सबसे सीनियर मैनेजमेंट होती है, उन्हें कहते हैं कि आप जी इंडिया में जाइए और अच्छे इंजीनियर्स को साथ में मिलकर के सॉफ्टवेयर्स तैयार कीजिए। ऐसी ही चीज़ों में आप अपनी नई एंटरप्रेन्योरियल परस्यूट्स भी शुरू कर सकते हैं। ऐसा मेरा आपके लिए सुझाव है। स्पेसिफिकली SaaS में, सॉफ्टवेयर एज अ सर्विस की जो इंडस्ट्री है वो बहुत तेज़ी से बढ़ रही है। इंडिया में सॉफ्टवेयर्स बनाएं और उसको आप प्लेटफॉर्म की तरह दुनिया भर में इस्तेमाल करें। मेरे पास कहने के लिए बहुत है, बस मैं आखिरी में एक चीज़ कह करके ख़त्म करना चाहता हूँ कि आज के दिन में जो भारत की स्थिति है, आप देखेंगे एक बड़ी सेंस ऑफ पॉजिटिविटी है। इस कमरे में आपको कोई नहीं मिलेगा ये कहते हुए कि बड़ा मुश्किल चल रहा है मेरा बिजनेस, कोई नहीं कहेगा ये आपको। लोग ये कह सकते हैं कि मेरी एम्बिशन 10x है, 100x है, 5x है, अलग अलग लेवल की एम्बिशन हो सकती है, बट सब में एक अलग लेवल की पॉजिटिविटी है। आप उसमें मदद करें, इसमें शामिल हों साथ में, और उसमें किसी भी तरीके से अगर हम आपकी मदद कर सकें या कंट्रीब्यूट कर सकें, बिल्कुल उसमें हमारा दायित्व रहेगा। और दुनिया में कहीं पे भी आप जाएं, आपको मुझे कई सारे हमारे दोस्त यूएस में कहते हैं कि न्यूयॉर्क में टाइम स्क्वायर में जाएं या फिर लास वेगस में, हर जगह पे हाई स्ट्रीट में ओयो दिखाई देता है। ये सब आप ही लोगों के बहुत प्यार का नतीजा है। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद, आपने बहुत प्यार दिया और हम काम करते रहेंगे। थैंक यू सो मच। धन्यवाद।
बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद रितेश अग्रवाल जी। और आपने हिंदी में अपनी बात रखी, जैसा कि कल हम फ़ोन पे बात कर भी रहे थे कि कुछ चीज़ें अपनी भाषा में भी आनी चाहिए। आप भारत को समझना चाहते हैं तो भारत की भाषा संस्कृति को आपको समझना होगा। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद आपका। और एनी क्वेश्चंस एक्चुअली फ्रॉम एनी ऑफ द पैनलिस्ट प्लीज़।
Hello, ma'am. Hello, sir. Sir, I'm Vidhi from Latur, Maharashtra. I come from the rural parts of the country, and my question is regarding big data and entrepreneurship. So, as we know, big data is the new gold. Few countries are having hegemony over it. Honorable Minister, sir, spoke about Internet of Things, virtual medicine, e-commerce, etc. India is having a huge potential in this sector. So what is opinion of yours, like how can India grow its potential further, promote youth and overcome the challenge of big data that we are facing right now? Thank you.
थैंक यू फॉर योर क्वेश्चन। तो मैम लातूर से आती हैं तो मैं रूरल के हिसाब से बात करूँगा। देखिए, मैं टूरिज़्म की इंडस्ट्री से आता तो मैं उसके कॉन्टेक्स्ट में आपको जवाब दूंगा। 3 साल पहले मुझे एक सुझाव मिला कि आप जो है रूरल टूरिज़्म भारत में क्यों नहीं ग्रो करते, क्योंकि बहुत सारे फार्मिंग कम्युनिटीज़ एग्जिस्ट करती हैं और उनकी इनकम कई बार वॉलेटाइल हो सकती है, तो टूरिज़्म एक मौका मिलेगा उनके लिए वैल्यू क्रिएट करने के लिए। तो हमने गुजरात में एकता नगर में जो है 50 रूरल जो फार्मर्स होते हैं उनके घरों को जो है होम स्टेज में कन्वर्ट कर दिया, एकदम कोविड के पहले की मैं आपको बात बता रहा हूँ। और आपने जो टेक्नोलॉजी की बात करी, मैं आपको कुछ उसमें उदाहरण देना चाहता हूँ। आज वहाँ पे इंटरनेट ऑफ थिंग्स यूज़ होता है वहाँ की की कार्ड को मैनेज करने के लिए एक रूरल होम स्टे में। वहाँ पे कस्टमर्स कैसे भेजे जाएं, वो बिग डेटा इस्तेमाल करके हम देखते हैं कि कौन से कस्टमर्स को ऑफ बीट एकोमोडेशन पसंद है। हम उसकी डायनेमिक प्राइसिंग हज़ारों बार बदलते हैं बेसिस सिमिलर डेटा। उसका आउटकम ये है कि वहाँ पे जो 50 होम स्टे ओनर हैं उनकी कमाई कोविड के समय में भी 50,000 से 1.5 लाख रुपए प्रति माह चलती रही। तो मैं आपको 2 चीज़ें इसमें बताना चाहता था। एक, भारत में बिग डेटा, IoT, डेटा साइंस का बहुत तेज़ी से इस्तेमाल हो रहा है, और वो सिर्फ डिफरेंस बड़े शहरों में ही नहीं, रूरल लाइवलीहुड्स को भी बहुत तेज़ी से बदल सकता है बाय मीन्स ऑफ प्रोवाइडिंग बेटर इनकम एंड बेटर लाइफस्टाइल। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद।
थैंक यू रितेश जी। एनी अदर क्वेश्चन? या डोंट स्पीक विदाउट माइक प्लीज। या
Hi, I'm Vivek Arjun from Mauritius, an investment banker. I'm also representing Mauritius Natal Durham Stamps Federation, an organization which works for the emancipation of followers of Sanatan Dharma. So I'm quite young. I would like quickly to thank the government of Madhya Pradesh, Mr. Chauhan, and also Mr. Thakur and the government and its allies for inviting us. I'm one of the youngest persons to be attending the PBD. My questions will be like, we've seen a lot of issues around the brain drain, about Indians giving out their citizenship, nationality, to go to migrate to the US. But us, as young Mauritian, African, of the diaspora, we want to come back to the country where 200 years ago our ancestors left, and we want to help our second motherland, Bharat Mata, make it prosperous from the 5th largest economic world power to maybe the 1st or 2nd, that depends on everyone's work. Is there any such initiative from the private sector, like you, Mr. Agarwal, or Mr. Thakur's side, to have a database that we can group, collect data from us, young
I'm sorry, could you
of the
please be more
diaspora?
specific, please?
How
please.
to go ahead? Will you be able to do a database so that you know that people from the pharmaceutical sectors there hotel sectors there. And when you need our help, we are there to help you. That's all. Thank you.
धन्यवाद आपके सवाल के लिए। सर का सवाल ये है कि मैं मॉरिशस से हूँ और मेरे जैसे कई लोग हैं जो भारत में आकर के देश के लिए सर्विस देना चाहते हैं और उसमें मौके कैसे हो सके, उसकी क्या डेटाबेस कुछ बन सकती है क्या। तो मैं इसमें बस 1 मिनट अपनी खुद की स्टोरी बताऊंगा। जब मैं 19 वर्ष का था, पीटर थियल नामक जो पेपैल के फाउंडर हैं, उन्होंने मुझे $1 लाख दिया और कहा कि ये आपके लिए स्कॉलरशिप है जिससे आप अपना बिजनेस बना सकें। मैं 1 साल या 6-8 महीना यूएस में रहा, पर उसके बाद दिल तो भारत से जुड़ा हुआ था, तो भारत में आकर के अपना बिजनेस शुरू किया। तो मैं आप लोग को बताना चाहता हूँ क्यों। भारत की जो अपॉर्चुनिटीज़ हैं वो दुनिया में आपको कहीं नहीं मिलेंगी, और लोग इसे प्रॉब्लम्स कहते हैं, मुझे अपॉर्चुनिटी नज़र आती है क्योंकि इतनी बड़ी देश है, इतनी नई संख्या में नए अपॉर्चुनिटीज़ बन रही थी कि मुझे लगा कि मुझे यहीं रहना है। और दूसरा, ऑन अ लाइटर नोट, आज बहुत शराफाबाद बाज़ार और छप्पन की बात हुई। मैं दिल्ली से सुबह 1 घंटे की फ़्लाइट में वहाँ आ सकता हूँ। मैं समझता हूँ कि यूएस और बड़ी देशों से वो काफ़ी समय ज़्यादा लगेगा। तो इन 2 कारणों से मैं आपको इनवाइट करना चाहता हूँ, आप भारत वापस आइए, अपॉर्चुनिटीज़ की कोई कमी नहीं है। डेटाबेस में आप ये समझिए, देश की जो भी स्टार्टअप है, आप किसी को भी रीच आउट करिए, सब आपसे बात करेंगे, हम इंक्लूडेड। हमारी खुद की कंपनी में जो लीडरशिप है उसमें कम से कम 40 से 50% जो लोग हैं वो विदेशों से वापस आए हैं, हार्वर्ड बिजनेस स्कूल और कई सारे स्कूल से ग्रेजुएट होगी, क्योंकि वो भारत में काम करना चाहते थे और कंट्रीब्यूट करना चाहते थे।
Thank you, Ritesh Ji. We'll have 2-3 more questions, please. Yeah.
I am Narayan Moti from Dubai. I am an investment banker. I want to raise a question to the lady from New Zealand.
Simranji, it's
Yeah.
you. Yeah.
We do a lot of training on investments based in Dubai and the entire Middle East. In what way we can collaborate and try to partake with your efforts so that we can also have a sense of belonging. Thank you.
Sorry, could you please repeat the question?
I'm an investment banker based in Dubai. We cater to the various markets in Middle East. We do a lot of training on investments, and you also in the same field. So how we can partake and be a collaborator with you? Thank you.
Thank you. If anyone is interested in the work that we do and they would like to help further the education of women, specifically in India, but also around the world with their financial literacy, I'll just be here at the stage if anyone has any questions. Thank you.
Great, that's nice. Any other question, please? Please make sure your question
नमस्कार,
should be
ये
short
राहुल
and
भाई के लिए
precise.
है। ये राहुल भाई के लिए है। मैं मालदीव से बात कर रहा हूँ। जैसे कि जानते हैं कि मालदीव इज वन ऑफ द बिगेस्ट मार्केट फॉर इंडियन पीपल, एंड वी आर वेरी हैप्पी टू से दैट इंडियन पीपल इज नंबर 1 इन द लास्ट 22 ईयर। लेकिन अभी मैं लक्षद्वीप गया था, अभी आई एक्सपोर्ट द सेम प्लेस, सेम पानी, ब्लू पानी, लेकिन वहाँ पर वो कोई नहीं पहुँचा। वहाँ पर इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर बहुत चाहिए, और मालदीव में भी वहाँ और नहीं पहुँचा। ये बहुत बड़ा सवाल है।
बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद आपके सवाल के लिए। सर, आपने बिल्कुल सही बात बताई। चाहे आप लक्षद्वीप की बात करें, चाहे आप अंडमान और निकोबार की बात करें, ये दुनिया के सबसे बेस्ट कोस्टल डेस्टिनेशंस बन सकते हैं। हम लोगों ने अभी, आपको बोल के खुशी होगी, मैं बंगाल में था साल के एंड में, क्योंकि हमने अंडमान को वापस शुरुआत करी है। तो लक्षद्वीप हम जल्दी इसी साल में इनॉग्रेट करेंगे और होपफुली आपको बहुत जल्दी ठहराएंगे भी वहाँ पर। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद।
Just last one question, please, because, yeah, please.
Hello, I have a question.
From
Hello.
where? Yeah. Okay, please.
My name is Benita, and I'm from Thailand, and I have a question for Mr. Harish Ji. Sorry. Yeah, Mr. Harish Ji. Basically, I mean, it's a very appreciable work what you are doing. Now, in this part of world, I mean, I think there's a lot of opportunities, and I myself am working on women empowerment and skill development. So, would love to get associated and see what we can do. Like the countries like Cambodia, Myanmar, Thailand, Laos, they really need a lot of help. Nepal. So definitely we would love to meet you and see how we can collaborate.
That's really great of you. I'll definitely meet you, and that's what we need, really.
I mean, this side is really where the good opportunities, not opportunity, I mean, to serve communities and opportunity. So it is there.
Yeah. Actually, I can't hear your question properly, sorry.
No. If there is any way we can collaborate for this.
Yeah. Definitely.
So I would love
We'll
to
meet
do
right
and
now,
help you
actually.
out here.
Thank you so much.
Ladies and gentlemen, our panelists will be here only. I mean, you can reach up to them and you can ask them whatever you want to. But here we are actually running short of time. We are almost done. So thank you so very much for joining us. And I know you have very many more queries and questions to ask. But I'm really sorry, sir. Please, please, please bear with us. So finally, just to conclude, I would simply say, as Ritesh ji just said, कि बहुत positivity यहाँ पर है. So we can simply say कि time is right, our future is bright. The only thing is, जैसे कि our Honorable Prime Minister sir says कि जन भागीदारी is important. So we all need to work together. Because we are in अमृत काल, भारत को अगर आगे लेकर जाना है, हमको सबको साथ में काम करना है. इसी के साथ में, I would like to thank our Honorable Minister sir, Minister of Youth Affairs and Sports, Shri Anurag Singh Thakur ji, our Honorable Minister of State for Youth Affairs and Sports, Shri Nishit Pramanik ji, our Secretary Ma'am, Ms. Meeta Rajiv Lochan ji, our Joint Secretary Sir, Shri Nitesh Kumar Mishra ji, all our panelists and all of you in fact. Thank you so very much for joining and making this session a success. And please do join us for lunch. Yeah, I've been told lunch has been actually organized in Nakshatra Hall, so you better join us there. And as one of our panelists just said कि आप explore कीजिए इंदौर को, मध्य प्रदेश को, India को. So please visit places. Thank you so very much once again. आप सभी का बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद. नमस्कार, जय हिंद, जय भारत.
हेलो, कल के प्रोग्राम के जो रिहर्सल से कंसर्न पर्सन्स हैं वो प्लीज़ रुक जाइए टू हैव अ गुड रन थ्रू फॉर